Making love in old age, an old story that still feels new. Have you ever wondered why, after turning 60, intimacy and making love become something no one talks about? Why we can speak freely about blood pressure, joint pain, or blood sugar, but hesitate when it comes to something that once bound us closely to the one we love. Older adults rarely say it out loud, but many quietly feel it. The body feels more tired each morning. The heart races after climbing just a few stairs. Sleep is restless. And most of all, there is a sense of emptiness, even while lying next to the person you've spent your life with. We think it's just old age, but sometimes it's the quiet result of going too long without being touched and being too afraid to reach out again. You might tell yourself, "I'm old now. There's no point in trying. My body's not what it used to be." But the truth is, sex is not a luxury. It is a part of health. Every embrace, every shared moment of closeness, every time two bodies come together, it nourishes love, supports heart health, sharpens memory, deepens sleep, and preserves self-worth. And if it has been a long time since you last touched someone, or let someone touch you, this video is for you, not to provoke, not to shame, but to speak a truth that few older adults dare to say, though many quietly feel it. In this video, Light of Wise Elders will show you what happens to the body and mind when intimacy fades, why it matters more than you think, and most of all, why you still have the chance to begin again. Don't turn away, because sometimes, just one word, one quiet yes, can save the rest of a life you thought had already passed you by. Part 1. When you stop making love, your body begins to age faster. Harold is 72 years old. By most accounts, his health isn't bad. He still does the grocery shopping, cooks meals, mows the lawn. The doctor says his blood pressure is fine. His heart is steady, and his glucose levels aren't high. But lately he's felt something is off. Each morning, he wakes up feeling slower, climbing the stairs. His heart pounds as if he'd just run a mile. At night, he tosses and turns, lying awake for a long time before sleep comes. His mind isn't as sharp either. One time he stepped outside to grab his garden shears, but when he got there, he forgot why he came. Strangely enough, he hasn't changed anything. He eats the same way, takes his medication on time, still reads the paper, and goes for gentle walks around the house. And only one thing stands out, something he rarely thinks about. It's been nearly 3 years since he last made love to his wife. It wasn't out of resentment. Nothing dramatic happened. They just gradually drifted apart. At first, she was tired. Then he felt embarrassed. Eventually, they both grew used to the silence, as if their bodies had stopped asking altogether. But in truth, Harold's body never stopped speaking. It just found another way. It no longer felt energetic, no longer flexible, no longer excited about the day ahead. And Harold started to wonder, could it be because he had stopped being intimate? Many people think, we're old now. We don't have the strength for that. Let's just live peacefully and stay healthy. But very few realize that making love isn't just about the bedroom. It's part of our biological system, especially as we age. Because every time we make love, even gently, even without the intensity of younger years, the body still moves. Blood circulates more strongly. The heart beats faster, but in rhythm. Like a natural cardio workout. Joints loosen up, the body becomes more supple. Muscles are activated, helping to retain elasticity. And after intimacy, the body releases helpful hormones like oxytocin, endorphins, and serotonin. They reduce pain, calm the nerves, improve sleep, and boost mood. When intimacy disappears, that whole natural chain reaction disappears with it. There's less movement, slower blood flow. The body tires easily, becomes more prone to inflammation. Without calming hormones, the mind grows tense, sleep becomes fragmented, and little by little the body starts aging faster than its actual years. The most dangerous part is that people don't notice. They think it's just natural aging, so they accept it and let their bodies decline with each passing day. One doctor once said, "Sex at an older age is the most complete exercise, not just for the body, but for the heart, the brain, and the self-esteem." That holds true for Harold. As intimacy faded from his life, his body didn't just weaken. It felt as if it had lost its will to live. No anticipation, no excitement, no sense of being a whole man. And perhaps he's not alone. Many older men and women are going through the same thing. Only they don't talk about it. They stay silent. They accept it. They grow used to a life without spark, without touch, without the feeling of being desired. But getting used to something doesn't mean it's okay. It just means you're living in a kind of emptiness, without realizing you still have the right to ask for more. Your body hasn't grown weak just because you're old. It's grown weak because it hasn't been awakened in a long time by the true movements of love. You don't need to make love like you did at 30, but you do need to let your body remember that it's still alive, still capable of being loved, still able to make you feel whole. If you dare to take just one more step toward closeness, just one step, the rest your body will remember on its own. Part 2. When you stop making love, your mind and emotions begin to fade. Ruth is 69 years old. She lives with her husband in a quiet little town. They've been together for nearly half a century. They've been through hard times, raised their children, and shared every penny of their pension to live modestly and neatly. From the outside, people often say, they're the perfect couple. But inside, Ruth feels something growing. Between them, silence. They still eat dinner together. They still watch the evening news. They still talk, but only about the kids. What needs to be bought, what's running low. It's been a long time since she felt a hug from behind. A long time since they held hands at the market. A long time since his eyes softened when she spoke. And most of all, they no longer make love. At first it was because he was tired. Then she became hesitant. And eventually they both silently agreed to let it go. No one did anything wrong. Their bodies just stopped touching. And slowly their souls drifted apart. Not in anger, but in quiet retreat. A year passed, then 2. One day Ruth realized she was starting to forget little things. Not because of illness, but because her mind had stopped. Being awakened, she'd go to the market and forget the most important item. She'd burn pots in the kitchen. One day she looked in the mirror and saw a stranger. Not because she had changed, but because she no longer felt like herself. Modern science isn't surprised by this, because even gentle, infrequent intimacy releases a series of important brain chemicals. Dopamine helps improve focus and memory. Oxytocin creates trust and connection. Serotonin stabilizes mood and helps prevent depression. Endorphins relieve pain and create a sense of well-being. None of these can be bottled in a supplement. They only appear through true human connection, through touch, through breath, through the beating rhythm of two living bodies, moving for each other. Without intimacy, those chemicals fade, and the mind starts to slow. Like a garden left without water, weeds begin to grow. Flowers stop blooming. Everything gathers dust. It's not just memory that dulls. Emotions begin to slip away too. Ruth started snapping at her husband over small things. Sometimes she'd stay silent for an entire day without knowing why. Worst of all, she no longer felt lovable. When we're no longer touched, we start doubting ourselves. Am I no longer attractive? Am I no longer a woman? Is he just with me out of duty, not love? The painful truth is he likely feels the same. But neither of them says a word. Older adults don't feel lonely just because they're alone. They feel lonely when someone is beside them. But they no longer feel seen, touched, or desired. Stopping intimacy doesn't just slow memory. It cracks the foundation of self-belief. We stop being a husband or wife and start being just someone who lives next to someone else. Emotions begin to freeze not because love is gone, but because love has no place to be expressed. There's a saying, you don't need to make love every day, but you do need to know you're still wanted. Ruth has never said those words, but she thinks about them every night as she turns away from him. And if you feel like you're drifting from yourself, if you feel cold even while lying beside someone, then maybe the problem isn't your memory, or your medicine, or even your age. Maybe the problem is that it's been too long since you were truly loved, through the body, through emotions, through the full presence of another person. This can change, but not by waiting. It starts with a touch. a glance, one brave moment of reaching out. Even if it's awkward, it's better than letting your emotions quietly fade away in silence. Part 3. When you stop making love. Your body begins to forget how to love. Evelyn is 73 years old. She has lived alone for more than 10 years since her husband passed away. In all that time, she's stayed quite active. She volunteers at the church, walks her dog every morning, and bakes banana bread for her neighbors. From the outside, everyone thinks she's doing just fine. Graceful, at peace, but only Evelyn knows there's a quiet ache inside. Not quite loneliness, but the absence of being touched. The kind of deep sensual touch that reminds her she's still a woman, not the polite hug from a grandchild or the casual handshake from a friend, but true closeness like in the old days. Then, one afternoon, she ran into Robert, an old college friend at the local farmer's market. It had been ages since they'd spoken, but that day's conversation led to coffee, then walks in the park, and eventually to a deeply emotional connection. Almost a year later, Robert gently expressed his desire to be close again. No rush, no pressure. He simply wanted to hold her like two people who are still alive, still in love, still able to feel each other not just in memory, but through their bodies. Evelyn said yes. She felt ready too. But when the moment came, her body hesitated. Her arms and legs froze. She didn't know where to place her hands, how to breathe, or how to respond. It didn't hurt. It just felt unfamiliar. Because it had been so long, her body had forgotten what it felt like to be loved. Many believe that when desire returns, the body will just know what to do. But in truth, when you go long enough without intimacy, your body starts to forget. For men, it may show up as slower response, weaker erections, or self-doubt. For women, it may be dryness, mild discomfort, or lack of flexibility. And worst of all, shame quietly creeps into the mind. Am I too old for this? Am I still attractive? Is it ridiculous to be doing this at my age? The more you think, the more you avoid. The more you avoid, the further away you drift. Until one day, you no longer give yourself permission to be loved. But the good news is, like memory and muscle, the ability to love can be relearned. You don't need to go back to how you were at 30. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start slowly. A longer hug, a gentle kiss, a moment lying next to each other with nothing between you. A quiet admission. I feel shy, but I miss that feeling. And someone willing to answer. It's okay. We'll take it slow. With time, the body will begin to remember. The tension will soften. The awkwardness will fade. And what returns is not just pleasure, but connection, trust, and the sense that you are still alive, still worthy of being loved. Making love after 60 is not about proving anything. It's about preserving one of the last ways we can truly reach one another, fully, honestly, and as human beings. You are not broken. You are not too late. You have simply forgotten for a while. And if today you allow yourself to begin again, even gently, even awkwardly, your body will remember the rest. And your heart, perhaps, will know how to welcome it again. Closing intimacy is not a luxury, but a part of living fully. We often assume that once we reach our 60s or 70s, things like making love being desired, being touched should be set aside. Because our bodies are no longer as strong. Because life is full of medications, doctor visits, and taking care of grandchildren. Because we feel shy. Because we stay silent. Because we think that at this age, romance is a luxury. But if there is one thing you should carry with you, until the very end of life, it is this: the right to be close, to be desired, to be loved, with your real body, not a performance. No one is too old to feel their heart stir from a warm embrace. No one is too late to hear a soft word between two people who have been silent for too long. No one is wrong for still wanting to touch, even if it's just holding hands a little longer. Intimacy in old age is no longer about technique or satisfying physical urges like in youth. It is a way of holding on to the human part, the emotional part, the connection that time cannot take from us unless we let it. If you've ever felt forgotten in your own home, beside someone who once felt like your everything. If you've ever thought that your body no longer had value beyond surviving another day, then this is your reminder. You still hold deep value. You still deserve to be touched. You can still learn how to love again if you allow yourself to start. Sometimes one simple sentence is enough. Can I hold you? I want to be close to you. I miss that feeling. You say it. They listen, and a connection you thought was lost begins to come alive again. It doesn't have to be grand. It only has to be honest. Because at this age, truth is the sexiest thing of all. If any of this resonates with you, or someone you care about, leave us a message below, or simply type, I still know how to love, so we know you're here with us. Don't forget to subscribe to Light of Wise Elders. We're here every week, with the quiet truths that are deeply real and deeply human, for those who refuse to live the rest of life in silence. Because life after 60 can still be the most beautiful years of all.